Now, the electrification movement has stood the test of time and has been able to energize the countryside. We have faced challenges and endeavors that have not only tested our commitment, but has also given us stronger motivations to continue and succeed in our goals and objectives for the communities and MCOs. This year's event theme, Arise as One, championing national development and building sustainable communities through rural electrification, is but appropriate as we are facing new hurdles and challenges that will test our relevance to the community. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NAGMEC 24th National Convention. To start off with today's activity, let us pay homage as we profess our faith through the invocation, followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiliw, peres ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisitig. Sa lahat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bukaw, may dinagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislat ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na naglilinig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng hatid pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming bigaya na pa ay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Special thanks to the Relcos Queen of Lights Choral for leading the invocation and to Leyeco 3's King of Light for leading the national anthem. Before we officially start this event, please watch the video on Zoom protocols to help us keep this event in order.
Before we officially start, here are some virtual meeting protocols. First, make sure that your Zoom account names are in this format. We will also request to please turn on your camera while the event is ongoing. You may, however, turn it off during breaks or when you need to drink or go to the comfort room. Also, if you have something to say, kindly send me a message via the Zoom chat box. That's Philreca_Sam Valderrama. Also, may we kindly request to mute your Zoom accounts while the speakers are discussing. And again, make sure that your Zoom account names are in this format.
May we once again remind everyone to please follow the Zoom account name format. Ang format po natin ay EC_full name. Ulitin ko po, ang format po natin ay EC_your full name. Maraming salamat. So to officially commence our virtual conference, I would like to call on NAGMEC President, the ever vibrant and dynamic Mr. Alan L. Laniba, to deliver his welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, virtual clap for our NAGMEC President, GM Alan L. Laniba.
Rosalind Carter said, a leader takes people where they want to go, but a great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be. We have more than 100 great leaders here attending the National Convention of the NAGMEC. Why great? Because GMs takes his people in the electric cooperative to go to where the movement ought to be, not just necessarily wanted to. My salute and respect to all the general managers. Among us here are great leaders in Congress, Congressman Prisley de Jesus of Felreca, of course, with the General Manager and Executive Director of Felreca, Attorney Janine Ulingan, Congressman Sergio Dagook of APEC, Congressman Godofredo Guya of Ricobuda, Congressman Adrian Ibcas of Acupadayon, the Patriarch of Rural Electrification, former Secretary and former NIA Administrator, Father Francisco Aking Silva, Patriarch of Rural Electrification, the Supremo, former Congressman, former GM, and the incumbent NIA Administrator, Edgardo Rama Masungsong, and the soon to be inducted as a Knight of Lights, one of the champions of our cause, the future Senator, our keynote speaker today, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles. The 2020 was a year of great challenge. That after we attended the International Convention in America to benchmark with great leaders in the world of missionary electrification, as we set foot back in our country, dala-dala natin sana mga pasalubong, pero tayo ang sinalubong ng balita that the whole country is in lockdown due to COVID-19. A number of lockdowns happened throughout the year, but we did not experience a knockdown, not even in a single round, because we have great leaders in the movement like you, the general managers. That's why the NAGMEC initiated the declaration of General Managers Month in every month of June. It is fully supported by Felreca by issuing an advisory to showcase the leaders in every electric cooperative, the figurehead, the general managers. Congratulations! Tinignan ko talaga lahat ng mga video showcasing the great leaders in every electric co-op. On the other phase of this crisis that we are facing, it molded us to the best version of a leader we could be. As the English proverb says, smooth sea can never make skilled sailor. Our guts were tested, our nerves were stirred, our spirit was agitated, our courage was torched, and our willpower was challenged. It became the litmus paper of our commitment and engagement to our advocacy, vocation, mission in the 1EC MCO movement. Every trying time, it behoves us to embrace holistically the mantra that our NIA administrator has propagated. that as a general manager of electric cooperative, it is not just an employment, but it is a movement. It is not just an occupation, but it is a mission. It is not just a profession, but a vocation. It is not just motivated by salary, but by advocacy. And we are not just an employee, but all of us are missionary. Today, we assemble together once again to assess, to appraise, to re-strategize, to evaluate and recharge as we will arise as one, championing national development and building sustainable communities through rural electrification. My comrades, my co-general managers, and great leaders in the movement, welcome to the 2021 NAGMEC National Convention. Mabuhay tayong lahat.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Virtual clap for our NAGMEC President, GM Alan L. Laniba. At this juncture, it is an absolute honor to have with us in this undertaking one of our leaders in the rural electrification movement, who is a woman of commitment, leadership, and selfless service. To give her solidarity and inspirational message to all our general managers, let us all welcome Philreca General Manager and Executive Director, our very own, Attorney Janine Depay Colinan.
A blessed and pleasant day to everyone. My sincerest greetings to our guest, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Alexi Nograles, our NEA Administrator Edgardo Rama Masungsong, and to our Power Block representatives, Honorable Presley C. De Jesus of Philreca Party List, Honorable Sergio Dagooc of APEC Party List, Recoboda Party List Representative, Congressman Godofredo Buya, and ako pa dayon Filipino Party List Representative, Congressman Adriano Ebcas. It is also an honor to be with us here, one of our greatest advocates of rural electrification, Father Francisco G. Silva, and our NAGMEC President, GM Alan Laniba. Allow me to extend my sincerest greetings and congratulations to our beloved general managers. Today is your day, and the whole rural electrification movement celebrates with you. John Maxwell once said, "A great leader's courage to fulfill his vision comes from passion and not position." I can fully relate to this quote because I have seen every general manager's eagerness and commitment to lead and serve the electric cooperative. I commend all of you for tirelessly responding to every call of duty. I know that you are all put in every challenging position, oftentimes difficult and stressful, and sometimes demands that you sacrifice your personal time. In my perspective, leaders are truly made and tested through time. The job will transform you in as much as you will transform your surroundings. Leadership is a gift, something that we not only give, but also a chance that we take wholeheartedly, fearlessly, and enthusiastically. Sometimes I would ask myself, how else can I make a difference? This question does not only challenge me to give my best in whatever task that needs to be accomplished, but also inspires me to be a good example, a friend, a mentor to those I lead. When I think of myself as a leader, I always see an honest critic, someone who wants to get things done, but also hopes that every person I work with will be inspired and will get the motivation to grow and learn. I think that one quality that a leader should have is courage to correct, while having the goal to inspire others to learn, grow, and be the best of what they can be. A few years of working for the movement, I have proven that we are indeed blessed with talented, creative, and intelligent staff, teammates, and colleagues. Our job now as leaders is to maximize this strength and gifts and how to use these things as our building blocks of greater things and legacies. Simply leading people to do their job is easy, but it's another thing to inspire them to make a difference in their lives. If this is part of our focus as leaders, then I would say that we are doing a great job in strengthening our advocacy. Being a general manager is a tough job because you will always be the first person to worry when something goes wrong, and also the last person to take the rest. Sometimes rest would mean light conversation with our colleagues, a chance to say good job and congratulations to your subordinates who also always got your back, or simple dinner with your loved ones. These are things that often go unnoticed. But I hope that we try to take time and enjoy these little chances of rest and comfort. I wish that even in the most difficult times, those times when we feel so pressured, we still find the chance to breathe, to take it easy and enjoy life with the people we hold close in our hearts. Let me take this opportunity to express my utmost gratitude to all of you for choosing to be a leader and for continuously reinventing, recreating, and redefining what leadership is truly about. I thank all of you for your hard work, dedication, commitment, and loyalty to our advocacy. And please know that the rural electrification is only as strong as you all are. I am grateful that in every single day that you choose to share your gift of leadership, you are also humbly taking the lessons with you in every step of the way. For you know that these lessons are reminders that we are all work in progress. I am grateful because I do not need to look so hard for me to find an inspiration. For this advocacy is blessed with so many good general managers and leaders. Lastly, I hope that you all continue to find purpose while working in the rural electrification movement. You are loved, valued, and appreciated. Happy General Managers Month, and may this convention be a memorable one for all of you. God bless everyone.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Philreca General Manager and Executive Director, our very own, Attorney Janine Depay Colina. At this point, let us hear the messages from our set of honored guests in this virtual event. We are very pleased to have with us the Power Block representatives, ang mga masisipag at magigiting nating mga representante sa Kongreso. We are very fortunate as our congressmen have prepared short presentations on leadership, organizational development, and harmonious work relationship. So hindi na po natin patatagalin dahil alam ko pong lahat tayo ay excited nang pakinggan ang mga hinanda nila para sa atin. So to give us a discussion on the topic entitled Building Harmonious Relationship between the General Managers and Board of Directors, let us all welcome Philreca President and Philreca Party List Representative, Honorable Presley C. De Jesus.
Good morning everyone! Bago ang lahat, nais ko munang pasalamatan at batiin ang ating mga ginagalang na tagapagsalita at ang mga panauhin. Ang aking idol na sa GM Alan Laniba, ang Presidente ng National Association of General Managers of Electric Cooperatives, for a job well done. Rallying the general managers together for the benefit and welfare of the entire electric cooperative sector. GM Alan, your courage is something that all managers should aspire to. Ituloy natin ang paglaban, pakikinig at pagsasalita kung alinman ang kinakailangan. To GM Janine Dipay Kulingan, ang ex-official member of NAGMEC and the general manager, like all of you, and executive director of Philreca. A woman whose talent and passion for our movement is beyond comparison. My fellow warriors of light in Congress, our power block representatives, Congressman Dagi, ang ating walking epira encyclopedia, kay Congressman Guya, ang napakaswabe at romantikong congressman, and Congressman Adrian, ang napakasipag na congressman sa loob at labas ng 4 na sulok ng House of Representatives. Ang ating panuhin pandangal, si Capsec Carlo Alexi B. Nograles, na minsan na hindi nagsawang tumulong sa atin. Isang tawag lang ay handang sumagot sa ating mga hinaing at pangangailangan. Salamat po, Capsec Nograles. Sa ating pinakamatapang at pinakamatalinong supremo na wala kaming mahingi pa sa inyo, sana ay patuloy lang ang paglaban sa kabila ng iyong mga pinagdadaanan para sa amin. Good morning, Administrator Edgardo Rama Masungsong, ang aming Supremo. To Father Paking, who will be sharing gems of wisdom. Salamat, Father Paking, sa walang sawang paggabay sa amin. At sa lahat po na nandirito, muli, magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Again, a pleasant day to everyone. It gives me pride and joy to be a part of this event. The 24th Annual Convention of the National Association of General Managers of Electric Cooperatives, or NAGMEC. It's been a very challenging year for all of us. Since last year, we've been conducting virtual events, and this year will not be an exception. This is really the new normal, but make no mistake, the virtual events that we have been conducting from so many months before until now do not mean we are losing this fight against COVID. It does not mean that we are becoming less and less efficient. The opposite, in fact, is true. Here's a true story. For those of you who have witnessed Pireka's board meetings, and I would like to think that the same is happening with NAGMEC's board meetings. We have noticed a significant increase in the numbers of hours that we have been spending in the meetings. Before the pandemic, I can vividly remember that our board members are excited to finish the board meetings after a couple of hours because they still have to fly back home or they need to attend to other important events. But when we started doing our meetings virtually, 5 to 6 hours of board meetings became a usual practice, and even then, a lot of agenda remained unfinished. However, this brief talk is not about the new normal. I was asked to talk about building harmonious relationships between the general managers and the board of directors. Here are what I plan to do today in this brief talk. To share some insights with you on the subject matter. To share some experience of mine, both problems and success stories. And perhaps I will try to challenge, if I can, some traditional practices of thinking and mindset of general managers. Now, please bear in mind that while I will be coming from the other fence, or my experience is mostly from the board of directors' point of view, I have some fair share of experiences too, in terms of problems and issues, of both of board of directors and general managers. I've witnessed and heard your problems and stories, because you do ask help from me sometimes, right? I would even venture say I might have the more objective take on this, rather than just getting someone who has been a general manager for many years or just a board of directors for decades. Let's put it this way. If you wanted to hear insights about finances and operations, then by all means, get a CPA general manager or an engineer/GM or even a lawyer GM. But since you want to discuss how to build a harmonious relationship between your board of directors, I have to say I may have a few insights on this. After carefully talking with colleagues and contemplating on this topic, I guess this really boils down to just some fundamental questions. Why is there a need to build a harmonious relationship between the general manager and the board of directors? Or maybe we can dissect this further. What does it mean when we say harmonious relationship? What is expected from the general manager? How about from the board of directors? Harmonious literally means free from disagreement or dissent. There's a balance. There's a stability. While both the general manager and the board of directors have the same interest at heart, the welfare of the member consumer owners, we have to accept the fact that our board of directors are directly accountable to the member consumer owners. They are, in fact, elected by the MCOs from their respective districts. As such being the case, they need to show tangible results to their employers, the MCOs. If you are dealing with 5 directors, it means at the most, you have to satisfy 5 different parochial interests. You have to balance all 5, possibly different but interconnected parochial interests. Assume that you have a capital expenditure project to be located in one district. While strictly speaking, this could possibly benefit the District 1 director. Note that this CAPEX project is to be paid by the entire cooperative, not just District 1. From there alone, you know that there is a probability that you might have to contend with competing interests within the board of directors themselves. Unfortunate, but that is the reality of it. But the thing is, while each director might have, and I cannot emphasize this any further, might have individual parochial interests, you have to see from a perspective of a higher ground, all of these interests are interconnected and part of one giant puzzle. They are all part of your co-op. And as difficult as it may be, they are pieces of the puzzle. And for you to consider your job accomplished, these pieces should all be put together on the table, together with each other in a harmonious manner. In fact, come to think of it, you are part of that puzzle. Let me repeat, the general manager is part of that puzzle. As a general manager, you have to make sure that you play well and ensure that these pieces will not get lost in the dark or outside the playing table. And whether you like it or not, you need all of them completed, hopefully before their tenure ends, because that the accomplishment is ideally what they are going to use to be re-elected. Now, please understand that as the general manager, you are actually in the best position to play these pieces nicely. The president of your BOD has his or her own interest on top of the overall performance of the board. Remember, while he is the president, he is still voted and elected by his district, which means somehow whatever he or she pushes for in the board, there is a fact that will always remain. He or she is elected by his or her own district and is therefore accountable to them. The general manager, on the other hand, is appointed by the board of directors and is responsible to them and the entire co-op, not just to one specific district. Again, why do you have to balance all individual but interconnected parochial interests? To probably illustrate this further, let's think of a harmonic orchestra. Think of yourself as the conductor of this orchestra. Think of your directors as your musical players. Everyone on the orchestra plays a very vital role on the accomplishment of their playing. Each and everyone need each other to play their role correctly. You have to play and execute the musical notes and expected from you so as to produce chords and chord progressions that will have a pleasing effect to the audience. The audience, of course, are the MCOs. If you are in the orchestra, then something is expected from you. And if you do not play your role, then there will be a failure. As the director of this orchestra, you, the general manager, should be knowledgeable enough to know when a certain note is expected. Indulge me for a moment. I need you to imagine an orchestra where one of the players is not playing his or her role. Imagine a drummer not beating the drum. Or imagine a violinist not playing the strings. Will this orchestra achieve its goal? Will this go anywhere at all? This is not rocket science, but I assure you, this orchestra will fail its audience, no doubt about it. So here now comes our expectations. For you to be able to manage and develop a harmonious relationship with the board of directors, the expectations should be clear. What are your roles? What are the directors' roles? When there is a conflict, which takes precedence over which? Who should be prioritized? These are the questions whose answers need to be known to the general manager, first and foremost, as he or she is expected to balance this. As I have mentioned earlier, more than anyone else in the group, the law from Presidential Decree number 269 and Republic Act number 10531 is clear on what power it wants to confer to the board of directors, and this is the business of a cooperative shall be managed by the board. The details of what is expected from them may slightly vary from co-op to co-op as provided for in their bylaws. But that one sentence, that one provision, that it shall manage the business of the cooperative, sums up what is expected from the board of directors. It manages the business of the cooperative. Let me repeat that. It doesn't manage the cooperative. It manages the business of the cooperative. And just for proper perspective, it manages on a top management level, of course. We do not expect the board to know when to hire more manpower for a certain division, when and how much loan to make to finance a certain project, or what strategy to implement to manage the complaints, for example, of member consumer owners. These are the general manager's roles. A general manager or his or her designated representative is responsible for running day-to-day operations of a business and guiding general business strategy. Just for further clarification, and you certainly know this already, your duties include overseeing hiring and scheduling staff, tracking cash flow, and setting sales goals for the organization, for the cooperative. The EC General Manager must be highly qualified, competent, and dedicated to spearhead all efforts towards the attainment of the targeted results. And if we take the words of Pipira, as stipulated and emphasized by very popular NEA Memorandum to Electric Cooperatives number 2017-035, to ensure the survival of an electric cooperative and achieve the economy of scale in its operations, a highly qualified, skilled, and competent general manager is essential. He or she shall perform the decision-making functions and implement the EC plans and programs in concrete terms to achieve EC goals and targets. If you think about it, the expectations and demarcations of duties and responsibility is quite clear. The board of directors are to determine the direction of the cooperative. The general manager's job is to find the ways and resources to reach such destination or to proceed to that direction. So now that we know what expectations are, we should be ready to face the sources of conflicts and concerns. Balancing the interests does not really come that easily because, like I said, these are sometimes competing interests. Let us start to the most basic concern. The board or some of them do not like the general manager. Let's just call out the elephant in the room right now, so to speak. It is very unfortunate and sad reality, in fact, that sometimes politics comes to play. Sometimes the board is beholden to a local politician. That is very true. Or for that matter, a national politician. You are very familiar of this problem. Sometimes the local or national politician has his or he own people that he wants to put into the cooperative. We are very well aware of how powerful our co-op is. And the truth is that co-op be weaponized for elections. And that is why local leaders and politicians, at least some of them, will try their best to get control of the cooperative, either through the general manager or the board of directors. And since you are here with me right now, we will just assume that the board of directors are the ones who are beholden to the local politicians. Again, it is sad reality, but it happens. Sometimes the conflict or concern happens within and among the directors themselves. The resources of the cooperative are limited and scarce. We have to decide which interests or needs to be prioritized first. And when equal but competing needs arise, and again, with limited and scarce resources, that is where concerns and conflicts materialize. In some cases, this is just a matter of votes for the board to settle. Whichever gets the majority of the support gets the go for the project or policy. But with the vote comes the general manager's opinion on where to stand. You're expected to make recommendations to the board. And if your recommendations run contrary to the board's preference, then we know that the tension will perhaps arise. And how do we resolve it? First, adhere to accepted processes and standards. Do not personalize things. Do not react on emotions. If this is a matter of where to put up the next payment facility, run the numbers. Which location will benefit the most MCOs? Which location will perhaps potentially get the most revenue? Again, just run the numbers. Be as neutral as possible. Another problem, if some of directors have vested interest on some projects, say a personal business that may profit if a certain co-op project is prioritized first. But then again, just be neutral and objective. Focus on the cause vis-a-vis the benefits of your policy or project. If the board insists on something that will clearly benefit them alone, just stick to the right and just decision anyway. You're on the right side of the fence. In the end, please understand, you cannot please everyone. But if you follow what is right, then you have the backing of the MCOs, the real source of the cooperative's power. And you are also legally sound and safe. I'm sure this matters as well. There are processes, there are standards, there are norms to be followed. Let me emphasize this. Board of directors come and go. Electric cooperative officials come and go. But the process, the standards, and the law are here to stay. You cannot please everyone, but you can follow the law. Second, if everything or when everything becomes very overwhelming to any one of you, this is where you can count on us. As they sometimes say, phone or call a friend. We're just phone call away or Viber away. Your umbrella organization, NAGMEC and PIRECA, GM Alan and GM JDC, your power block, we are all here for you. I can almost assure that these conflicts and problems had happened to someone already before. And those experiences probably have been shared with us already. It is probably in our collective consciousness already. It is just a matter of tapping that memory and experience so we can share it with you and you can take advantage of the experience. My point is, you are not alone in this. United we stand united. Remember, hindi naman kada problema tawag ka agad kay GM Alan, kay Attorney Janine, o kaya tawag ka agad sa akin, or any one of the power block representatives. Yes, we welcome that very much, but of course, try to solve and do something about it first. But please, do not hesitate to contact any one of us. Whenever you think that the problem becomes too heavy for you to carry, there might be an accepted convention already from PIRECA or NAGMEC. And it is just a matter of implementing it and using it to solve your problem. Pero meron man o wala pang sagot sa problema, we can solve it together. Hindi tayo nangiiwan, walang iwanan. Our strength lies on the fact that no matter what happens, we have always been together as one. We dance, we sing, we party, we protest, we campaign. We do those things as one. And you can see where it got us. Representations in Congress. So in closing, you might ask me, is there really hard and fast rule on how you should manage differences and hence maintain harmonious relationship with your board of directors? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but the answer is a resounding no. There is no hard and fast rule in addressing and managing differences. Humanity is complicated. What we have now is a product of interconnected but unique experiences and values. People, and therefore, you and your board of directors will certainly have unique interactions, unique priorities, and unique values. And all of this will contribute to either harmony or chaos. But you know what factor or element will keep these different priorities and advocacies together in harmony? Our desire to bring the best that our member consumer owners deserve. Truth is, I think that is all that matters. We pride ourselves for being a service-oriented organization compared to for-profit private distribution utilities. You know what binds the shareholders or investors and management of private distribution utilities? Profit, return on investment or ROI. Their decisions are run by numbers. They simply ask the question, what decision will bring the best and highest return on their investment? I'm not saying that they are wrong, but this is how their business model is wired and configured. But that is not the case in the electric cooperatives. We provide the best service that we can to our member consumers, no matter what the cost is. And like I said, if we can instill to everyone that this is all that matters, we can easily handle any differences that may arise. But for everything else that you cannot handle, nandito lang po kami para sa inyong lahat. You know our number, email, addresses, and if you are somewhere near our offices, our doors are always open for all of you. You are welcome to come in anytime, call us anytime. Kasama ang Power Block representatives, ang buong PIRRECA, ating mga EC allied organizations, maraming pong salamat sa pag-imbita sa akin. Mabuhay ang NAGMEC, mabuhay ang mga general managers, mabuhay ang ECMCO movement, mabuhay ang PIRRECA.
Thank you very much for that presentation, Congressman Presley C. De Jesus, PhilReca Party List Representative and PhilReca President. Kasama po natin siya ngayon. So may I request a few words from you, Congress?
Sam, at siyempre hindi ko palalampasin itong pagkakataon na ito at makita ko ang 121 magagaling natin mga general managers. Without them, kami ngayon na Power Block ay wala rin. At ako'y natutuwa na lahat tayo ay nagkakaisa not only to protect and defend our electric cooperatives as well as the member consumer owners, but we understand the situation and the problems that arises from day-to-day operation natin. That's why I'm so thankful. Nandito kayo lahat. And of course, would like to acknowledge the presence of our Cabinet Secretary, Secretary Nograles, and of course, the Supremo of our movement, Administrator Edgardo Rama Masunsong, of course, si Father Paking. Yan ang mga original natin mga leaders dito in the Power Block. And I will take this opportunity, isa-isahin ko sila, Congressman Dagook, Congressman Guya, Congressman Ebcas, and of course, the General Manager and Executive Director of PIRRECA, Attorney Janine Dipay Kulingan. Hanggang ngayon, nagtatrabaho pa rin yan. Akala nyo, nakikinig sa atin yan. At the same time, ano mo naman yan, very multitasking si Attorney Janine. Marami pa rin ginagawa yan. And of course, GM Alan Laniba, with this jacket, talaga naman, naiiba ka talaga. Nilampasan mo na naman ng PIRRECA with your ideas. Magaling ka talaga, Idol. Saludo ako sa inyo. And of course, sa ating mga general managers again at sa mga staff of PIRRECA at ng mga staff natin sa HRR. Siguro hindi lingid sa inyo that next year will be election year again. At ngayon pa lang, alam naman natin, marami nang sumisira sa atin because what we're doing in Congress are of course to reckon with. So isa lang hiling ko, just keep intact. Pag sabi nga nila, pag nagsama-sama tayo, no one can beat us. Yan po ang importante sa ating laban na ito. And again, sa mga GMs, ako'y nagpapasalamat sa inyo na kayo talaga ang totoong hero. Kayo totoo talaga ang nagpapatakbo ng electric cooperatives. When you look at my presentation kanina, simple lang naman ang formula to have a successful electric cooperatives. The GM is the captain of the ship. The board of directors will always support ang mga GMs. Kapag ang board of directors ang nauna kaysa sa GM is is a disastrous. Kumbaga, it will be very disastrous talaga yan. Hindi pwede mangyari. I, being the board president, you can ask GM Hill, my good GM, na napakalang GM, hindi ko siya kahit minsan pinangunahan. What I'm telling him always, I will support him whatever endeavor o kanyang decision. Ganyan din po sana ang mga board president, ang mga director that kailangan nila wag sumalungat sa mga gusto ng ating GM, sa gusto ng ating mga department management, na dapat lang ay nakasuporta lagi ang mga board of directors. Ako'y being the president and being a board of director, ay kakasabi ko ang ating mga board na dapat nakasuporta sila 100%. Otherwise, maraming kooperatiba ang babaksak sa atin. Again, hindi ko na pahabain at marami pa tayong mga magsasalita natin mga kasamahan dito. Again, GM Idol, Alan Laniba, the rest of all the GMs of the 121 electric cooperatives, you can always count on us. Makakaasa kayo, the Power Block together with PIRECA and the allied organization ay kaisa nyo sa ating tagumpay at kaisa nyo sa ating mga pinaglalaban. Muli, isang magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Maraming salamat.
Again po, maraming salamat po, Congressman Presley C. De Jesus. And now to deliver his presentation on the topic entitled, Inspiring Leadership that Motivates Employees to Become Advocates, let us all welcome Recobo, the Party List Representative, Honorable Godofredo Guya.
A pleasant day to everyone virtually present today in the NAGMEC convention. I would also like to greet NAGMEC President GM Alan Laniba, my friends and colleagues in Congress, Honorable Congressman Presley De Jesus, Honorable Congressman Sergio Taguop, and Honorable Congressman Adrian Ibcas. And of course, the PhilReca Executive Director and General Manager, Attorney Janine Dipay Kulingan, and to all the hard-working general managers of our electric cooperatives. I am honored to be given an opportunity to speak before my fellow general managers. I prepared a presentation about inspiring leadership that motivates employees to become advocates. This presentation will be in 3 parts. First, a brief background about my career, journey in the electric cooperative. Then I will share some insights on what it means to be a leader and some tips on how we can inspire our employees to share our advocacy. Ako po ay isang registered electrical engineer na nagsimula bilang house wiring inspector noong taong 1981 sa Davao del Sur Electric Cooperative. Nagsumikap po ako na maging Technical Services Department Manager. Pinagbutihan ang trabaho at sa biyaya ng Diyos ay mula sa rank and file na posisyon ay naging General Manager ng Davao del Sur Electric Cooperative. Habang ako ay nasa cooperative, namulat po ako sa advokasya ng rural electrification movement at naging aktibo ako sa pagpapalawig ng katuparan ng ating advokasya. Naniniwala po ako na kailangan natin protektahan ang mga electric cooperatives at ipaglaban ang interest ng mga consumers laban sa profit or for profit na mga kumpanya. At noong taong 2019, ay pinalad po ako na maging kinatawan ng Recoboda Party List sa Kongreso bilang isa sa mga leaders na magtataguyod ng karapatan ng electric cooperatives at member consumer owners at magsusulong ng ating advokasya. Now, how do we define leader? For me, a leader is someone who serves the people, or in this case, the employees. A good leader must be a good listener. Dapat po marunong tayong makinig sa mga empleyado, even sa mga rank and file, at sa lahat ng nakapalibot po sa atin. A good leader must also be very sensitive to the needs of your employees. Mahalaga na pakinggan natin ang mga issues o complaints na nire-raise nila. Pati yung body languages and non-verbal cues, i-observe din natin. Again, bilang leader, dapat marunong tayong magserbisyo sa mga tao. As a leader, we should also involve all the employees in the planning and setting of directions, guided, of course, by the mission and vision of the electric cooperative. Importante na maging bahagi sila sa pagpaplano dahil sa collective effort ng lahat ay magiging susi sa pagiging successful ang electric cooperative. Dapat alam nila ano ang shared goal natin. Saan ba tayo papunta? Ano ang direksyon natin? The employees must be knowledgeable sa mga plano at mga programa ng electric cooperative. As a leader, you also have to establish a reward and a penalty scheme. Ibig sabihin, dapat po mayroong policy ang electric cooperative about this reward and penalty scheme. Kasi kapag ang empleyado ay nagpe-perform or nagde-deliver effectively with high performance, as a leader, you should know how to reward these people. Kapag di naman nagpe-perform yung empleyado or pasaway, of course, penalty provision or penalty po ay ma-implement natin. And of course, in this process, mayroon talagang tinatawag nating due process. Sa ganitong paraan, if there is a reward like promotion or salary increase, people are motivated to work or to work hard and do their best in all time. But of course, the reward system ay with basis or may due process tayo na tinatawag. Hindi magiging palakasan. That way, mag-i-inspire or mai-inspire ang mga empleyado na magtrabaho. Now, to be an inspiring leader, I would also like to share with everyone the very insightful quote from a very wise man. I guess everyone knows Nelson Mandela. He said, and I quote, "When you are at the top, be careful of the monster called pride. Pride will make you look down on the people who haven't attained your level of success. When you are at the bottom, be careful of the monster called bitterness. Bitterness will make you jealous and think that other people are the reason you haven't made it. When you are on the way to the top, be careful of the monster called greed. Greed will make you impatient and make you steal or seek shortcuts. When you are on your way down, be careful of the monster called despair. Despair will make you think it's all over, yet there is still hope. Di ba napakaganda ng quote na ito? As leaders, mahalaga na we always self-reflect and check our actions and decisions. Magandang guide ito para every now and then mai-evaluate natin ang sarili natin kung nagpo-fall na ba ako sa pride, bitterness, greed, or despair. We should always inspire or aspire to be fair and effective leaders worth emulating so that we can be good role model to our employees. Now, after we do our best to be an inspiring and fair leader all the time, paano nga ba natin sila ma-inspire naman sa ating advokasya? As a leader, dapat marunong tayo sa planning, organizing, leading, and managing. The planning should be guided with all the analysis, like yung tinatawag nating scientific analysis or basis po natin. Vital part ang planning para makita ang direksyon ng kooperatiba. And this includes the technical, financial, and institutional aspects of the electric cooperative. Kaya dapat sa plano pa lang maayos na. Dapat ang leader ay laging organized, maayos, at positive output-oriented. We should also lead by example. We should be active leaders, an action man, kumbaga, and we should be the first to abide by the rules and protocols. And we should set the proper work ethics that would be cultivated in the work environment. A leader should also be able to mingle, network, and socialize with local government officials to foster harmonious relationships for the benefit of the people, the employees, and the member consumer owners, and to the community you serve. It is also important that we encourage our co-op continuous education program for the employees. Let them internalize the 7-point agenda of the movement and the societal benefits of our advocacy. Let us continue to educate them and encourage them to be the active partners in achieving our goal. That what we are advocating for is for the protection and advancement of the rural communities, and that we will soldier on until the true rural development will be attained and tangibly felt by the Filipino families. We are advocating not for ourselves, but for empowerment and growth of the rural communities. And finally, my friends, these are some personal tips to be a better leader. First, let us not forget to ask guidance of the divine providence in all our undertakings. Remember to put God first. Second, support your electric cooperative with all your heart and mind. Isa puso at isa diwa natin ang ating mga tungkulin. Third, establish a culture of solidarity and integrity within your cooperative. As leaders, you have the capacity to create a positive and healthy environment and culture grounded on proper moral standards. And lastly, attitude matters. Everything we do, napakahalaga ang attitude. That ends my presentation. Thank you, everyone. I know you're all amazing leaders in your respective cooperatives, but I hope that the insight and tips I shared with you will be helpful. I wish everyone success in leading and inspiring your employees.
Thank you so much, Recoba, the representative, Congressman Godofredo Guya, for your very intensive presentation. So at this point po, may I call on NAGMEC Senior Vice President, GM Jose F. Pugno Jr. to introduce our keynote speaker.
Good morning to all our guests and to all my fellow general managers of electric cooperatives. It is an honor to be with us today, a person whose selfless service has been very vital to our country. He is currently served as Cabinet Secretary, appointed by President Rodrigo Duterte in November 2018 to head the Office of the Cabinet Secretariat. He served as close advisor to the President and ensured close coordination among the different agencies of government, such as the IRG, DPWH, the SWD, DOH, and others. He is committed to helping the President deliver on his promise to bring development to all regions, provide more opportunities to those living in the provinces, and uplift the economy in the countryside. He is also a staunch advocate of an advancing programs and against hunger to end and overcome hunger concerns in different parts of the country, find solutions to water shortage in household while expanding irrigation in agricultural land, and to finally achieve long-term peace in Mindanao. Before he was appointed as Cabinet Secretary, he was chair of the powerful House Committee on Appropriation, which approves the national budget for the annual expenses of the government. He served as a three-term congressman in the 1st District of Davao City, a lawyer by profession, and he previously worked for the Nograles law firm in Davao City. Our guest is a recipient of numerous prestigious awards as an outstanding legislator. He received the Golden Globe Award for Excellence in Public Service in 2015 and 2016. He was also recognized as an outstanding congressman in 2012 and 2015 by Superbrands Marketing International. He is a graduate of Philippine Science High School. He holds a degree in BS Management Engineering from the Ateneo de Manila University and a Juris Doctor from the Ateneo de Manila Law School. He was born and raised in Davao City and the second among 4 children of Prospero Nograles and Rodora Bendigo Nograles, a cousin of President Rodrigo Duterte. As Cabinet Secretary, he leads the following: co-chair of the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Disease, IATF, Chair of the Interagency Task Force on Zero Hunger, Chair of National Irrigation Administration, NIA, Chair of the Cabinet Assistance System, Chair of the Cabinet Cluster Secretariat. He is also author of the following laws: the Green Job Act, Job Start Philippines Act, Pre-Higher Education, Salary Increase for Police and AFP personnel. As chair of the House Committee on Appropriation, he made sure that funding is provided for the following: the Pre-Higher Education Law, the National ID System, additional budget for irrigation, and the modernization of equipment of the Philippine National Police and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Other laws advocated for are Cancer Care Bill, Universal Health Care Bill, a bill that aims to have the regular officials of barangay receive monthly salary. He is also a recipient of TESDA Kabalikat Award for Region 11 in 2013 and in 2015. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, to deliver his keynote speech, let us all welcome Cabinet Secretary Carlo Alexei B. Nograles.
Maraming salamat sa inyo, Senior VP GM Jose Bognot Jr. for the very generous introduction. Sa mga dati kong kasama sa Kongreso, kay Congressman Presley De Jesus ng Philreca Party List, Congressman Sergio Dagook ng APEC Party List, Congressman Godofredo Guya ng Recoboda Party List, at Congressman Adriano Edcas ng Ako Padayon Pilipino Party List. Sa ating napakagaling na NEA Administrator Edgardo Rama Masongsong, sa ating NAGMEC President GM Alan Laniba, kay Philreca Executive Director General Manager Attorney Janine Depay Colingan, sa ating former Presidential Advisor in Rural Electrification and former NEA Administrator Father Francisco Silva, at sa lahat po na nandito ngayon, magandang araw, mayong buntag sa Tanama Bisaya. Good morning to all. My gratitude to the Philippine Rural Electric Cooperatives Association or Philreca and National Association of General Managers of Electric Cooperatives, NAGMEC, for inviting me today. It is my honor and privilege to speak at today's convention. Bago po ang lahat, tanggapin niyo ang aking taus-pusong pasasalamat sa patuloy na pagserbisyo at paghatid ng kuryente sa ating mga kababayan sa gitna ng pandemyang ating hinaharap. Maraming salamat po sa inyong mga electric cooperatives. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has adversely affected not only public health, but also our economy. Many businesses have shut down or suspended. Our mobility has been restricted and many of our kababayans have lost their livelihood. Government has taken a whole-of-nation approach to dealing with this pandemic. Kinakabalikat ng gobyerno ang iba't ibang sektor sa laban na ito. And this allows all efforts to be synchronized and integrated in all sectors. It affords committed leadership and good governance in all mechanisms in fighting this virus. Cascaded mula sa ating Pangulo as recommended by the Interagency Task Force against COVID-19, which I co-chair. Tapos ini-implement ng ating National Task Force kasama ang Department of Health, Department of the Interior and Local Government, at ang ating mga local government units providing critical functions at lahat ng pag-execute at implement ng lahat ng kinakailangan. But of course, we would need always the support ng ating private sector and non-government sector. Nananatiling matatag ang gobyerno sa laban natin against COVID. Lahat ng mga kinakailangang programa at strategiya upang wakasan ang COVID-19 at ang mga epekto nito ay patuloy naman pong ginagawa. As more vaccines arrive in the country, our goal remains the same: to vaccinate at least 70% of total population para ma-achieve natin ang tinatawag na population protection or herd immunity. More or less po, meron na po tayong more than 6 million doses na ating na-administer sa ating mga kababayan all over the country. We've already started inoculating those belonging to priority group A4 o ang ating mga economic frontliners kung tawagin. This actually accounts for around 22 million of the country's population. Itong priority group na to covers employees in the private sector, those who are working outside of homes, mga government employees, mga nasa informal sector, mga self-employed, at kahit those employed in private households. Kaya ako po'y kami po'y patuloy na nananawagan sa lahat po sa inyo at sa inyong mga empleyado na magpabakuna na. Libre po ito, wala kayong kailangang bayaran. Tuloy-tuloy na ang pagdating ng mga bakuna, kaya hindi na tinatanong ngayon kung makakatanggap ba tayo o hindi dahil sigurado lahat naman po ay eligible na makatanggap. Kaya bilang kinatawan ng pamahalaan sa pagtitipong ito, nais kong tiyakin sa inyo that each and every employee of yours will get the vaccine. Kung pasok na kayo sa priority group A2 at A3, aminin na yung mga A2, pag senior citizen na po talaga, at kasalukuyang binibigyan ng bakuna, sana po ay nagparehistro na kayo at nagpa-schedule na kayo ng inyong vaccine shot. Yung mga nasa A4, pwede naman po, no? Iba't ibang mga LGU ay tumatanggap na rin ng advanced registration for A4. No? Para pagbukas ng A4 sa inyong lugar, ay tuloy-tuloy na yung pagbakuna. Lalo na ngayon na kinakailangan ng ating pamahalaan ang tulong po ninyo. Ang tulong ng lahat upang muling sumigla ang ating ekonomiya. We need to vaccinate the frontliners in the EC sector. Kayo po, ang mga electric cooperatives natin. Mula sa mga linemen, billing, collection, at maging ang front-facing office personnel po natin. Ito ang sinisiguro ko sa inyo. Sa pagdating ng bulto-bultong bakuna sa bansa, hindi mawawalan ang mga frontliners ninyo. Kung kailangang unahin, gagawin natin. We have recently signed for additional vaccine doses, no? Nabalitaan nyo with Pfizer. And we expect even more vaccines to come this June, July, August. Sinovac has also committed to front-load their vaccines. Kaya hindi na po hintayin na hanggang December. Ang commitment ng Sinovac ay ipadala na nila ang bulto-bulto para matapos nila ang kanilang supply commitment sa atin by September. Magtiwala kayo, tatapusin natin ang pagbabakuna kasama ang mga manggagawa ng electric cooperatives. Personally, naniniwala ako sa tinatawag na butterfly effect. Ang mga maliliit nating ginagawa ay may patutunguhan at magbibigay bunga sa mas malaking pagbabago. Halimbawa na lang, kung walang kuryente, marahil ay mas marami na tayong casualties sa COVID-19, lalo-lalo na sa mga lalawigan, probinsya at kanayunan. Kasi kung walang kuryente sa kanayunan, marahil ay mas marami sa ating mga kababayan ang nagugutom. Lahat ng ito ay sumasangay ng kalagahan ng kuryente sa ating buhay, lalo-lalo na ngayon na nasa gitna tayo ng pandemya. In line with the theme for today's convention, Arise as One, Championing National Development and Building Sustainable Communities through Rural Electrification, we aim to give recognition to rural electrification. We have no choice but to accord the sector the prioritization that it needs. This has also been repeatedly mentioned by the President in his pronouncements. At kahit na po sa United Nations, this is in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which mark the importance of electricity to development. In fact, this is SDG goal number 7, to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all by 2030. Multiple studies also show that rural electrification improves the quality of life and it helps stimulate the local economy. Di naman po kailangan ng common sense lang po yan. Thus, strengthening rural electrification will mean that more Filipino customers and consumers will have access to adequate, steady, reliable, and affordable electricity. And this will redound to more economic and social benefits and ultimately uplift the life of all Filipinos. We all know that majority of economic activities rely on the use of electricity, mula sa production, processing, hanggang consumption of goods. And also electricity plays an important role, especially in the time of pandemic, where almost everything is pushed towards online platforms. Kaya napakalaga na ipagpatuloy natin ang pagseserbisyo sa ating mga kababayang Pilipino, lalo na sa ating mga kababayang nasa mga rehiyon, lalawigan at maliliit na bayan. Nalaman ko na ang buwan ng Hunyo pala ay EC General Managers Month. As it is, alam nating mahirap ang trabaho ng ating mga GMs, mga General Managers, burdened with overseeing daily business activities, improving overall business functions, training heads of departments, managing budgets, developing strategic plans, creating policies, and communicating business goals. Talaga naman pong napaka-tremendous ng trabaho ng isang GM. Aside from being at the forefront of efforts towards the attainment of targeted results of your electric cooperative, you must deal with the demands of these very challenging times. Without the right mindset, you will crumple and fold in the face of those pressures. But despite all of these, I hope that you will not be deterred from going the extra mile for the 14 million of your kababayans whom you serve, or higit pa sa 14 million. Instead, I hope that this is a time to ensure that you will remain committed despite your own challenges in your personal lives and amidst this pandemic. Palaging kakailanganin ang kuryente. Yan ang bottom line. Bagamat may ibang mga alternatibong pagkukunan ng kuryente, ang rural electrification po ay mananatiling mahalaga. So may you continue the improvements in your systems and structures, as well as be on the lookout always for better technologies. And may you continue your share in the realization of the vision for a proactive, dynamic, and resilient Philreca that is an advocate of the rural electrification program and development through united, allied organizations and globally competitive electric cooperatives and an empowered member consumer owners sector. Malayo na po ang narating ng pagkilos tungo sa pangarap na mapailawan ang buong bansa. Marami na tayong mga naipasang batas at naisagawang mga proyekto tungo sa hangaring ito. Pero naniniwala ko na mas marami pa tayong magagawa. I would like to applaud your efforts in the Pantawid Liwanag program, which provided electricity bill subsidies to more than 3 million consumers across the country. Alam ko na lubha rin kayong naapektuhan ng pandemyang ito, pero nagawa niyo pa rin magpaabot ng tulong sa ating mga kababayan na nangangailangan. So this is indeed very, very commendable. Before the Baginhawa Community Pantry became even viral, you in the electric co-op sector were already busy going the extra mile for our kababayans in the rural areas. As what all corporate entities should be doing in difficult times, you share the burden of taking care of the most hit, the most vulnerable, and the poor. Some, if not most of you, partnered with government through the DOLE's Tupad and the Department of Agriculture's Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita. Having said that, kumihirit din po ako na if you could join hands with me sa Pilipinas Kontra Gutom movement ko po. This is an initiative I led with a partnership of close to 70 corporate entities, civil society groups, NGOs, to ensure food availability, accessibility, and food adequacy in the country, and food assistance in times of disasters. Balikan na lang natin ito sa ibang pagkakataon but I hope sooner than later. Ngayon, pag-usapan natin ang recovery and new normal. This will not be the last pandemic, no? Gaya ng sinasabi ng karamihan mga eksperto. Baka marami pa tong mga challenges na ito. Kaya nais kong sabihin sa inyo that your plans of entering the digital industry must be pursued with resolve. You have the assets, manpower, and resources, kaya maximize po natin ito. I've actually spoken about this in LEECO 3 in 2018, and GM Alan will attest to the excitement of the MCOs nung pinag-usapan namin ito during their AGMA. Nothing prevents you from entering into that venture of delivering internet service. With work from home especially, and alternative learning schemes, bakit hindi na lang kayo ang makinabang at magkabit ng kable sa inyong mga poste and expand your services? Hindi naman bawal eh. Sa tingin ko, mas mura pa nga sa inyong mga member consumer owners at dagdag kita pa ito sa inyong kooperatiba. Naitawid nga ninyo ang pailaw sa mga sityo, ano ang makakapigil sa inyong ipadaloy na rin ang modernization sa baryo. So, in closing, alam natin the energy sector ay kabilang sa mga sektor na lubos na naapektuhan ng pandemyang ito. Dahil sa mobility restrictions at iba pang disruptions, nagkaroon ng malaking pagbaba, no, sa demand ng kuryente. Ngunit sa gitna ng lahat ng ito, nananatili pa rin kayong tapat sa inyong tungkulin na pataasin ang uri ng kabuhayan ng ating mga kababayan sa pamamagitan ng paghatid ng kuryente. Kaya dahil dito, lubos ang aking pasasalamat sa inyong lahat. Bago pa man ako magtapos, hayaan niyong sabihin ko ito. Believe po kami sa inyong hanay. There are miracle workers among you. Some are handling 2 ECs. Ang hirap na nga ng 1 EC, 2 ECs pa. Some are notable for being 180-degree artists dahil you are known in the industry to turn EC trajectories around and bringing ailing electric cooperatives back to financial health and viability. Among you are innovators and aggressive visionaries. Those who do not allow themselves and their vision to be held back by legal impediments and boxed in by EPIRA and other laws. You have among you pioneers and trailblazers in terms of not only new areas and services aside from electricity, but also novel ideas and adaptive transformations. And at the front and center of all these exciting personalities came from your ranks, the NEA administrator himself, Admin Ed Masongsong. But all of you in this group are development collaborators. You all are the government's partners in rural development. And government must recognize that. Alam ko na batid ito ng ating Pangulo. Kinikilala niya ang halaga ng inyong serbisyo. I've always said in the past that the ECs will always be relevant as long as our quest for rural development is not yet realized. You will all the more be needed as we work on economic recovery post-pandemic. Hindi pa nakakabangon ang mga kanayunan. Kailangan kayo ng bansa upang muling buhayin ang ekonomiya sa mga lalawigan. There will always be threats and challenges, of course. Mula noon, hindi naman po yun nawala. But time and again, you have proven yourselves to be solid and resilient even in the face of structural and policy challenges. Personally, I strongly believe that the country cannot afford to lose you. Rural recovery, rural development will never be possible without your service. The key really is reliability. Just last Friday, I was in Romblon and GM Dennis Ala gave me a chance to speak before the management and rank and file of Chelco. I think may video yata hinanda ang office ko.
Dahil ako po'y naniniwala sa mission ng electric co-ops. Electric co-ops all over the country, all over the Philippines, serve a very important purpose. Pumapasok kayo sa lugar na kailangan serbisyohan, na underserved or unserved areas. And the only way for us to do that is through the electric cooperativism movement. So this is really the answer for us to be able to bring the service to the people and to lift the Philippines out of poverty. Hindi natin maiangat ang ating bansa kung walang kuryente. Ganun lang kasimple yun. No? Very basic necessity, water and electricity. Ganun lang po. Minsan sinasabi nga nila mas importante sometimes ang electricity kaysa sa water. Di po ba? Paano natin maiangat ang buhay ng taong bayan? Is through electricity. Ganon din yung internet. Well, sunod na yung internet, no? But basic na basic ang electricity. Kaya nga po, when I was in Congress, at kahit nung naging chairman ako ng Committee on Appropriations na nag-handle ng budget, paulit-ulit kong sinasabi, kailangan natin tulungan ang electric cooperatives to do their job, which is why kailangan dagdagan talaga yung pondo for the rural electrification program. Yan talaga ang bottom line. Hindi natin pwedeng pabayaan yan. No? The cooperatives need all the support and help that they can get from the national government. And really the way to do it is through rural electrification.
That is my stand. And should this representation be given the opportunity, kung tutulungan yung magkaroon tayo ng pagkakataong maitulak ito ng husto, I will again push for more funds to fuel our rebirth so you have something to spend for new facilities to replace old ones. Kailangan natin ng modernization sa inyong sektor, from new distribution lines to management systems, something that will encourage innovation, research, and development, and spur the revitalization of your services to support the country's drive towards a quick and sustainable recovery, especially sa rural areas. Pagpatuloy niyo lang ang inyong ginagawa, lalo na ngayon na malaki ang papel na ginagampanan ninyo sa pagtulong na maibangon muli ang ating ekonomiya. Magtulong-tulong tayong maabot ang nating national development potential at bumuo ng sustainable communities sa pamamagitan ng rural electrification. Gaya ng inyong pamahalaan na tumutugon at walang tigil na nagsisikap para sa kapakanan ng bawat isang Pilipino, gayon din sana ang PhilReca at NAGMEC. Pagpatuloy po natin ang pagtutulungan kasabay na paghingi ng tulong sa ating Diyos. Malampasan din natin ang lahat ng ito sa harap ng samot-saring hamon na hinaharap sa ating ng kasalukuyang panahon. Magkaisa tayong lahat at maliban siyempre sa sama-samang panalangin. Kailangan natin magtulungan. Maraming salamat po. Maayong adlaw. Salamat. Good morning po sa inyo lahat.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our Cabinet Secretary, our keynote speaker, Honorable Carlo Alexi B. Nograles. Thank you so much po, CABSEC, for your strong support to NAGMEC, PhilReca, and all the 121 electric cooperatives nationwide. We are truly honored po for your presence in this virtual convention. Maraming salamat po. So now we would also like to present our plaque of appreciation. The plaque reads, the National Association of General Managers of Electric Cooperatives, or NAGMEC, presents this plaque of appreciation to Honorable Carlo Alexi B. Nograles for his support to the rural electrification movement and for delivering his keynote speech during the 24th NAGMEC Convention, given this 24th of June, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles.
Thank you.
Thank you so much po. May we also invite you po, CABSEC, to be the inducting officer for the induction and oath-taking of the newly elected officers of NAGMEC for the year 2021 to 2023.
Okay, thank you. Salamat sa plaque. And now we will proceed to the oath-taking. So here are our newly elected officers of NAGMEC. May I invite all the newly elected officers to please raise your right hand and repeat after me your oath of office. I state your name.
Alan A. Laniba.
A.F. Ognot Jr.
Godofredo Gomez,
Having been elected as, state your position.
having been
Having
elected
been elected
as
as Vice President for Mindanao,
your Vice President of General Managers of Electric
of the National Association of General Managers of Electric Cooperatives,
of the National Association of General Managers of Electric Cooperatives,
do solemnly swear to abide by and uphold the Constitution and bylaws of NAGMEC,
do
do
solemnly
solemnly
swear
swear to abide by and uphold the Constitution and bylaws of NAGMEC,
to perform my duties to the best of my ability and capacities,
to
to
perform
perform
my
my
duties
duties
to the
to the
best of
best
my
of my
ability
ability
and
and
capacities,
capacities,
without fear or favor, with the aim in view of furthering the purpose of this organization.
without
fear
fear
or
and
favor,
favor,
aim
aim
in
in
view
view of furthering
furthering the
the
purpose of
purpose
this
of this
organization,
organization,
And advancing the interest of the advocacy, communities, and organizations to which it is dedicated.
and advancing the interest of the
advocacy, communities, and
organizations
is dedicated.
it is dedicated,
And to conduct myself in a manner that will benefit the rural electrification movement.
and conduct myself in a manner
will
that
benefit
will
the rural
benefit
rural
electrification movement.
So help me God.
So help me
Help
God.
me God.
Congratulations po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand to our new set of NAGMEC officers. Congratulations po. Thank you so much again po, Cabsec Nograles, for inducting the new leaders of NAGMEC. We are very lucky po that no other than the Cabinet Secretary inducted our NAGMEC officers. So having said that, in behalf of the 121 General Managers, the National Association of General Managers of Electric Cooperative would like to formally recognize you as a certified Knight of Light. We would like to call on our NAGMEC President to lead the knighting ceremony of Cabsec Nograles.
Thank you, Sam. Yung Knights of Light, yun yung elite na mga warriors of light. All of us are warriors of light. Pero pag Knight of Lights ka, ito yung elite group kumbaga. So the National Association of General Managers of Electric Cooperatives, together with the presence of our NIA Administrator Edgardo Rama Masungsong, and our leaders in Congress, the Power Bloc, and of course the PhilReCA, Philippine Rural Electric Cooperative Association, the mother organization of all the allied organizations in the movement, we formally adopt Cabsec Carlo Alexi B. Nograles as a knight, a certified Knight of Lights, for being our champion in the rural electric and our strong supporter in our advocacies. Congratulations, sir.
Maraming salamat po. Napakalaking karangalan and privilege to be knighted. First time ko maging knight. Ganito pala ang feeling. Maraming salamat po at asahan niyo po ang aking full support as I have been giving it even before my knighthood, and even more so now that I am one of your Knights of Light. Maraming salamat po sa NAGMEC, PhilReCA at sa lahat po ng mga GMs at lahat na nandito. Mga Kongs na nandito ngayon at kay NEA Admin, thank you very much po. Full support po all the way. Thank you.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, a big hand to our Knight of Light, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Alexi B. Nograles, our champion of the rural electrification movement. Mabuhay po kayo, Cabsec.
Mabuhay, Senator Carlo.
Buhay, Senator Carlo.
Thank you, boss.
Bye.
Boss.
Ang Senator
Mabuhay, Senator.
program.
Alright, sana po makapag-stay pa si Cabsec Nograles because we still have talks po moving forward. So at this point, we continue with the presentations prepared by our Power Block representatives. So to give us a discussion on the topic entitled Effective Leadership in Critical Times, let us all welcome APEC Party List Representative, Honorable Sir Sergio C. Dagoo.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. First, I was confused because in the program it is a solidarity message. Anyway, first of all, no, I would like to commend the leadership of NAGMEC through GM Alan Laniba for conducting this year's annual NAGMEC convention despite the present situation. My respect to the person whom I considered an icon in the rural electrification program, for whom the style of leadership that I applied, most of them came from him, Father Francisco Paking Silva. My respect also to our Cabinet Secretary, Carlo Nograles, katatapos lang magsalita. Being a warrior of light for 37 years, napaluha po ako sa kaniyang mga sinasabi, sa kaniyang taos-pusong suporta. Alam po nila na palagi po akong emosyonal. Every time I heard national leaders supporting the program, I am one of those present during the public hearing of the 2019 budget when the CABSIC really, as chairman of the Committee on Appropriations, wanted to increase the budget of NIA. And that triggers why we enter into the political arena for one reason or another. Dahil marami po tayong mga government officials na hindi nakakaintindi gaano kahalaga at ano ang nagawa for the countryside development ng rural electrification program. So I am really teary-eyed hearing the commitment. And I hope he will become a senator. I would like also to mention and give due respect to Administrator Edgardo Rama Masongsong, despite all the challenges he faced as NIA administrator, he continued to lead the flock of the movement. He is an inspiration to all the leaders of the movement. My respect also to our leaders of the band in Congress, Pilrica President and Pilrica Representative, Congressman Priestley, mga kasamahan ko na si Congressman Fred Guya and Congressman Adriano Ibcas. Of course, lahat ng mga general managers na nandito, munti ko nang makalimutan ang kasamahan namin na kahit madaling araw ay nagtatrabaho, GM Janin, Dipay Kulingan. I was just overwhelmed by the commitment. Alam ko po na taos-puso po, galing sa puso niya yung commitment ni Kabsik Nograles as approved when he was presiding in the deliberation of the budget for the Department of Energy. Yung sinasabi ko kanina. Kaya alam ko po, noon pa man, he is really, he really appreciates the advocacy of the Rural Electrification Program. So sa lahat po ng mga kasamahan ko, ng mga general managers, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. I was tasked to convey my personal experiences in handling crisis situation as a general manager. As leaders of one of your leaders of the electric co-ops, no, I know all of you have already passed the stringent process before being appointed as GM of your respective electric co-op. You were all tested by time, adversity, and I know you are strengthened by progress and innovation as the years went by. Kasi pag habang tumatagal ka sa pagiging GM, lumalabas yung pagiging leader mo. Nahuhubog po yun. So it is my hope that you will learn something from my presentation today. Pandagdag lang to doon sa mga alam na ninyo. So alam ko na ang iba siguro dito ay ginagawa na ninyo. So I will be discussing in brief, first my brief background of my journey being a GM. No, kumbaga sa movie, no, talagang true to life to, mga true to life. Ang ibabahagi ko sa inyo ay yung talagang nangyayari sa buhay ko being a GM. Then in the second part, I will share 10 leadership concepts that I have been using and found to be very effective. And on the last part, I will be applying the concept I follow in facing and solving crisis situation in our particular sector. So, sa umpisa, hindi ko po pinag-ipan na magiging GM and pupunta ko sa landas ng pagiging leader. It started when Administrator Sanchez, Teodorico Sanchez, became an administrator of the National Electrification Administration because at that time, almost all of the electric cooperatives were managed by NEA personnel appointed as acting general manager. So when Administrator Sanchez came into office at NEA as administrator, he recalled all the acting general managers assigned from the different electric cooperatives and enjoined all electric cooperatives to hire a local general manager. So that started na recall yung GM namin. Then all of the applicants of I did not apply as GM. Nobody from us, from the department managers apply as GM. There are outsiders who applied, but ultimately, when the NEA endorsed 3 applicants who passed the process of background investigation and qualification, the board ultimately rejected all of them and appoint me as permanent GM because at the time, I was first appointed as officer in charge. It lasts for almost 2 years. So that begins my journey as a general manager. So I said only because the first education that I have is only a vocational course, trade technical, a two-year course from the Surigao del Norte School of Arts and Trades, major in electricity. That's why I was employed in Sherilco as a lineman in 1985. Then at night, I go to school in one of the college here in Siargao Island, an extension of the Bukidnon State College, taking up bachelor, the degree of Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. And I completed that course for 7 years because I can only enroll at least 2 subjects or 6 units in every semester. So it took me 7 years to graduate the business administration. So the first lesson in handling crisis situation is really to maximize, no, whatever we have, no, kung ano yung uh, nasa inyo ngayon, yung resources, no, it is to maximize whatever we have and try to create an impact out of it, formulate solutions, no, to maximize that resources. Kung ano man ang meron ka sa ngayon, wag ka na munang maghahanap. Hindi po pwede yung sasabihin mo, hindi ko kasi may reduce yung systems loss ko. Kasi wala akong pira, hindi ako pautangin ng NIA. Kasi ang nangyayari kasi, habang napakababa yung categorization mo, financially problematic ka, walang magpapautang sa'yo. Pero kung maganda yung financial status mo, ang daming nagpapautang, ang daming umiingganyo na hindi ka naman kailangan mangutang kasi may pera ka. Ganun ho, that is the reality. So, kung ano man yung nasa inyo ngayon, just maximize, no, that resources in creating a situation that will impact, no, the operation of the co-op. So, pursue it with excellence, and I'm sure success will come out of that. In the next few slides, I will be elaborating on the 10 leadership concepts that I follow and found to be effective on me in managing 2 electric cooperatives. Dalawa po yung hinahawakan ko since 2004 because yung Dinagat Island Electric Cooperative is one of the problematic electric cooperative in Caraga region before I manage it. Kaya hindi talaga magiging outstanding region yung Caraga with Dinagat. 15 taon, 7 general manager papalit-palit. Wala po silang opisina, wala mga gamit, 12 hours lang yung operasyon nila. Dahil ispag po yan at hindi po sila nakakabayad sa NPC, kaya 12 hours lang ang operasyon. So I started there in 2004. Nung nakita ng NIA, natagaroon ako doon sa resume ko. Kaya hiniram nila ako. And until now, I did not receive a salary from them. Talagang I categorically with, no, my salary in Dinagat since 2004 until now. So, first, para hindi tayo hahaba, ito po yung 10 concept, no, na leadership concepts na ginagamit ko. Most of this I learned from Father Paking through the book Moses on Management. Kasi I considered Moses as the great leader of all times. Biruin mo kung paano niya pinalabas sa Ehipto, no, yung mga Israelites na ilang dekada na naging alipin doon. At paano niya nilid yun, no? Yung challenges that Moses encountered doon sa kanilang paglalakbay from Egypt until nawala si Moses, that is a great, no, that is a great thing that every leader must evaluate, no? Titingnan kung paano ginawa yun ni Moses, and you will learn a lot, no, out of that. So out of that, mayroong 10 leadership concepts na ginagamit ko until now. Kahit saan ako mapapunta. First is to accept, assist, then connect, deliver, persevere, then solve, search, enforce, indo, then finally depart. Most of the leaders do not want to depart, but you really need to accept the reality that there is a time to depart. Kaya yung iba magkakagulo dahil ayaw pang umalis, no? Ayaw pong umalis. That is part of the concept that a leader needs to apply. Yung number 10, you need to depart. So, isa-isahin ko pero in brief. First, accept. You need to accept the reality, no? The role of leadership, even if you are reluctant, unwilling, and unequipped. Biruin mo, lineman lang po ako, tapos nagiging GM ako, 2 ko pa. So, at that time, ang share ko po 18% ang systems loss, 72% ang collection efficiency. So, walang opisina, 2 sasakyan lang ang nandito sa posisyon namin, galing sa NIA, original loan. Isang 90cc na motorsiklo. Yan ang sinasabi ko na napakahirap yung sitwasyon ko. Pero kung ano lang ang nandyan, yan lang yung ginagamit ko. Wala pa pong Pilrica noon, wala pa si GM Jarin. Kung mayroon mang Pilrica, wala po, mahirap po, hindi po nakakatulong sa co-op directly and indirectly. Kailangan mong mabuhay ng sariling sikap. Pero nandun ako sa sitwasyon na ako na ang pinili ng board na naging GM. So even I am reluctant, I need to accept the reality that I am already the captain of the ship. I am already the captain of Sherilco. Kailangan ko nang yakapin yon. Walang bahid alinlangan. That is what I mean to the concept of accepting the fact. Kung ikaw na ang GM ngayon, just accept it at yakapin mo lahat kung ano yung challenges yan. Pros and cons, kailangan mong yakapin. By way of heartily accepting that you are already the GM. You are already the leader. Next, while in-accept mo na, dahil nasa teritoryo ka, nasa lugar ka na bago ka pa lang, you are in a new territory. So, bago yung buhay mo, you need to assess. Diyan papasok yung pangalawang concept. Assess the situation you are about to enter and formulate your own leadership style. Kaya napakalaking utang ko po kay Father Paking nung una akong nakapunta sa Civico. We are the first batch of people who are trained in Civico doon sa center na yon. At that time, I am still an officer in charge and I am the ISD manager of Sherilco. Kaya napunta ako doon because of ISD activity. So, I learned a lot, no, from that particular training. So you need to assess. Tingnan mo yung paligid mo, sino yung board mo. Kailangan na i-assess mo yung mga ugali ng board mo. Yung mga kasamahan mo. In my case, napakahirap dahil alam nila, parang na-underestimate nila ako kasi alam nila, lineman ako, kasama kami. Marami. So, gawan mo ng program yon, gawan mo ng, you need to formulate your own leadership style to counter that. Paano mo sila mapasama doon sa gusto mong mangyari. Cooperation. So, after that, you need to connect. So, titingnan mo lahat yung mga local government units. First, ask yourself, bakit ba ako nakarating sa mundong ito, pagiging GM? Saan ba ako nanggaling? No? So, wag nating kalimutan lahat. We are all created by God. So hindi ka naman nagiging GM kaagad-agad. Ipinanganak ka muna. Bakit ka ipinanganak? You are created by God. You always go back to that, no? Balikan mo palagi yan. So, when balikan mo yan, we are created by God. So you need to continue. Who else are created by God? Yung mga tao sa paligid mo. So you need to connect to them, no? You need to strengthen your connection to God by connecting to the people around you. And since you are a GM, ang nakapaligid sa iyo, makasamahan mo ang mga local government units, mga consumers mo, then government agencies supervising the electric cooperatives, NEA, DOE, ERC. Those are the connections, no? Kailangan mag-connect ka doon. So, but most importantly, always remember your connection to God, then your family. After you connect, makikita mo na yung resulta. So, may deliver ka na, no? Because when the board choose you to be their GM, no? You have now entered into a covenant. May kontrata ka na doon. There are deliverables of the GM that you need to deliver. So, you need to deliver what are their expectations from you as a GM. So, when I was chosen by the board, rejecting the applicants, no? Ang sabi ko sa sarili ko, ayaw kong ipahiya yung board na nagbibigay ng trust sa akin. Kaya gagawin ko lahat na hindi sila mapahiya. So, but hindi mo lahat. We must need to accept the reality na hindi mo maibigay talaga lahat. Mayroon talagang hindi mo maibibigay kaagad-agad. So, yung mga bagay na yon, you need to do something, formulate again strategies na kung hindi man ngayon, in the future, maibigay mo. Because that is one of their expectation. At kung magawa mo yan, lalong magkakaroon ng pagpapalapit ng loob yung mga board. Ito na yung tinatawag ni Kong Priestley kanina na the board should always support you. And that will only happen kung makikita ng board yung sincerity mo. Kasi kung makikita naman ng board na personal yung patutunguhan mo, personal interest, do not expect that they will support you. Kaya tama si Kong Priestley doon, the board should always support provided makikita nila na yung gusto mong gawin is for the benefit of their constituents, the MCOs and the employees. So, pag GM ka na, within the co-op, almost all are within your control. No? Unless hindi mo malimutan mo na may board ka, which is nasa itaas sa'yo. Minsan kasi kung JM ka na, nakalimutan mo, may mataas ka pa, yung board mo, who are the representatives of the owners. So, pag nawala sa isip mo yon, dahil you are almost all in control, magka-problema ka. So, don't forget, you are almost all in control sa operasyon, but you have an owner, the board of directors. Unless you connect with the board, no, hindi ka magtatagal sa co-op, magkakaproblema ka. There is always harmony with the board and the management para magawa mo yung gusto mong mangyari. But yung gusto mong mangyari should always be to the benefits of the MCOs. Then, in doing so, there are challenges. There are challenges. This is not walk in the park. Managing and leading is not walk in the park. You need to distinguish between leading and managing. Magkaiba po yun. Most of the time, you need to lead than managing. So, in doing, there are challenges. So, when you encounter challenges, you need to persevere. Diyan papasok yung panlima. You need to persevere. You need to cross the line. You need to cross the border. Huwag kang mag-surrender. Hindi po pwede na sasabihin mo na, hindi ko na lang ipagpatuloy ito kahit alam mo na tama. Dahil napakahirap. Anyway, hindi naman nadadagdagan yung sahod ko. Hindi rin naman nakukulangan kung hindi ito mangyari. No, do not do that. Kailangan mong lampasan yon kung ano man yon. So, gamitin mo lahat. Connection to the church, connection to the LGU, ERC, NIA, Pilrica, lahat-lahat gamitin mo just to be able to persevere whatever challenges that you encountered when you execute the plans and programs. So, on my part, no, ang sinasabi ko, lahat ay susuungin ko, no? I don't want to sacrifice my legacy doon sa dalawang electric cooperatives, no? Kailangan kakayanin mo lahat, no? In the name of service. Straightforward ka lang kung ano yung tama. Dahil yung mga nagawa mo na, masasayang yon. Kung pagdating mo doon sa almost sa dulo, gagawa ka ng mali, masasayang yung legacy mo. So make sure na from day 1 until the last day of your employment as GM, as leader, tama ang gagawin mo, no? So that you will not be sacrificing the legacy na naiiwan mo. Just push yourself to the limit. Push yourself to the limit. Kanina, narinig ko si Congressman Goya na sabi niya, pinalad ako na nagiging congressman. To be honest, for me, being your representative in Congress, no, your responsibility is much harder than a GM. So I did not consider na pinalad ako na nagiging representative ninyo. Kasi double, triple pa yung expectation ng mga kasamahan natin when you become a representative. Alam ni GM Janin yun, alam ng mga kasamahan kong tatlo nila ni Kong Prisley. Gaano kahirap dahil sa taas na expectation ng mga co-op. So that I did not consider, with all due respect to Congressman Goya, parang hindi yata pinalad kung magiging congressman ka. Basta tatrabahuin mo lang yun, hindi ka pinalad, no? Then, when you persevere, ibig sabihin may problema ka talaga. So, the only way to persevere, no, na malampasan mo yon, yung number 6, you solve the problem. All problems along the way, no, you need to solve that in order for you to persevere. Talagang may problema. Some of us consider management as a core organization, no? Doon sa core organization, no? May board ka, may empleyado ka. Sometimes these core people will become your problem, no? Hindi po sa lahat ng pagkakataon ay magiging kaagapay mo sila. Sometimes they will become hindrance. They will become hindrance. Lalong-lalo na po yung sinasabi ni Kong Prisley na board will come and go, no? I have nothing personal against the board. Mayroon talagang ganyan na because of that come and go, alam nila 3 taon lang ako dito, baka may mga personal sila na gagawin, talaga magiging problema yon sa GM. Yung ibang empleyado din, paparetire na, may mga gustong mangyari sa employment nila, which is against, no, the norms, the Kaya magiging problema mo sila. So, you need to solve in order to persevere individual problems. So, doon mo i-apply yung planning, leading, organizing, controlling. Sinabi na to kanina ni Congressman Goya, yung PLOC. Kung problema mo isa dalawang empleyado, magkaroon ka talaga ng plano para sa kanya individually, not general. So, kanya-kanya yun. But the concept should be, wag mong iwanan yan. Confront the problem, solve it in order to persevere. In doing so, you need to search. No? Yung number 7. In management, problems will never go away. The solution always depends on you. How you approach. Paano? It is a trial and error method. Wala pong exact science. It is a trial and error method. In mapping out how to resolve problems, you need to search solutions little by little. Trial and error. Yan po ang experience ko. Then kung makita mo na yung tamang solusyon sa tingin mo na tama, enforce it. Yung number 8. As a manager, you need to enforce the policy. Ako in my case, kahit congressman na ako, I am reporting to office 7:30. Sabay po ako sa bus namin, yung employees shuttle. 7:30 uuwi 5. Kung minsan kung may sesyon, ako ang pinaka-last uuwi, alas 7, alas 8. So, ganun po. Araw-araw po yon until Saturday. Kasi may Saturday office kami, half day. So, kung minsan Sunday may board meeting, kung conflict sa session, Sunday pa yung board meeting ko. Dalawang board ko, 4 na board meeting in a month yan. 2 sa Dinagat, 2 dito. While attending sessions, etc., etc. So, as a GM, no, you need to enforce the policy, but you need to walk the talk. Kailangang manguna ka, gawin mo yung sinasabi mo. You follow the policy. So kung yan ang uniform ninyo, ganun din ang uniform mo kahit congressman ka na. Kaya may damit ako dito pang sesyon, may damit din ako uniform sa office. So sinusuot ko yung uniform sa office, pag nagsesyon, nagpapalit lang ako sa loob ng pangsesyon. So walk the talk, follow the policy, follow the rules. Huwag mong sabihin na empleyado yan. Pati ikaw kailangan sumunod. Now, let us not forget mga GMs, alam na ninyo to, reminder lang to, the lifeblood of the co-op is meter reading, billing, and collection. So, sinasabi ko to kasi nandito tayo sa number 8 concept. Enforce the policy. Kung takot kang mamutol, mga mayor, ganon-ganon, mukhang magkakaproblema ka. So kung hindi mo sila putulan, no, you need to do something. Paano mo sila mapabayad without resorting to putol? So marami akong paraan dyan. Kung minsan, kung maliit lang, inaabunuhan ko. Yung mga ganon. Kung magbiyahe yung mga mayor, yung bahay nila, 5,000 yung bayarin, walang may bayad. Hindi mo putulan, pero bayaran mo para walang masakripisyo na policy. Hindi masabi ng consumers na, ay, hindi pinutulan yung mayor. Kasi pira mo yun sarili mong pira. Wala namang makikialam doon. O sinong ku-question kung bayaran mo yung bill ng mayor. Anyway, pagbalik niya, babayaran ka rin naman yan. So, may revolving fund po ako sa lahat sa 2 co-op, sa Dinagat at saka dito. Yung mga mahihirap talaga na hindi nakakabayad, mga mangingisda, for example, na alam ng mga kolektor na from payor. Pero there are times na hindi sila nakakabayad, nagkasakit, masama yung panahon. So my instruction is, doon kukuha sa pira ko, revolving fund, ibayad doon. Then pagbayad nila, ibalik lang doon. To give justice na enforce the policy, pero you need to do something na nakakatulong. But do not sacrifice the enforcement of the policy. Kasi lalong-lalo na sa MRBC, that is the lifeblood. Pag nakita yon ng mga consistent ka, nakita ng mga LGU, talagang nagbabayad sila. One of the example is yung sa Dinagat, hindi nagbabayad. Before I came in, yung mga leaders doon, I don't want to mention, pero alam niyo yung Dinagat, it is a country of alam niyo yan kasi hindi naman lingid sa kaalaman. That is a public knowledge, yung Dinagat. Pagdating ko doon, 500,000 yung bahay lang ang utang dahil 6 na taon hindi nagbabayad. Inutulan ko po yon, pero lumayas ako after pagputol to save my life kasi alam nila talagang may mangyayari sa akin. So when I come back, nag-uusap na kami. Hanggang ngayon, 100% collection efficiency. Makikita nyo sa record namin, nasa NIA yun. Until now, last 17 years ang Dinagat, 100% collection efficiency. Yung sa Sheril ko, ganun din. So, kanya-kanyang style that will suit doon sa lugar at sa ugali ng mga local government units mo. So, as a GM, in order to enforce, you need to inform the employees what you want. No? Allow others to recognize your strength as a GM, but do not abuse. You need to walk the talk. Balik ka naman doon. Strength, saan manggaling yung strength? Strength comes from your integrity. Pag sinabi mo walang korupsyon, pero corrupt ka, tumatanggap ka ng mga komisyon kung ano-ano, may maipukol sa'yo, ang hirap enforce nun. Kasi baka may empleyado na nakakaalam, magte-text brigade yun, o si JMO, may tinatanggap yan ganito. Mahirap enforce yun. So, one of the strength that a GM ay kailangang hawakan to enforce yung gusto mo based on policy, based on existing law, is your integrity. Recognize also the strength of others, like the board. Assist also their strength. Huwag mo silang apakan. Do not cross the line. There is NIA Bulletin 35, pinakaluma, delineation of function of GM and the board. Huwag kang aapak doon sa teritoryo nila. At kung makikita nila yon, hindi rin sila aapak sa teritoryo ng GM. Ganon din ang board. So, ang mga empleyado, let them know your ways. No? Sabi ni Moises, let them know your ways. Ipaalam mo sa kanila, ano ba yung pamamaraan mo? At kung maintindihan nila yon, kapakanan nila, they will follow you. If you don't enforce the policy, ay i-revoke mo na lang yan. I-amend. If you cannot enforce it. The wisdom behind the policy, every policy, may objective yan. There is a wisdom. There is an intent. The wisdom behind the policy will help realize the company's, the co-op's mission and vision. If you cannot enforce it, walang mangyayari doon. But you can only enforce it if you have integrity. If you have integrity. So in the enforcement, in perseverance, in solving problems, you need to endure. Talagang mamimilipit ka sa sakit. Pero kailangan mong tiisin yon. You need to endure. Bakit?